I imagined him standing in the living room, phone in hand, looking around the place he had spoken from so confidently the night before. The walls, the furniture, the hallway, everything probably looked the same. "No," I said, "it's written." He said my name again, but this time there was nothing behind it. No strategy, no conclusion, just strain. I ended the call a minute later. Not abruptly, not dramatically. It just reached its natural end. I set my phone on the bed and sat still for a while after that. Because the hardest part was over. Not the review, not the legal process. The illusion. That was the part that had started collapsing. And once that happens, everything else tends to follow. That evening he texted again. I didn't know. A minute later, "We can fix this." Then, "Please call me." I read all 3 messages, then locked my phone and set it face down on the nightstand, because now his certainty was gone. And in its place, something much more revealing had arrived. Fear. The next call didn't come immediately. It came after a gap. Not long, but long enough for something to shift on his side. By then, the review had already moved forward. I didn't need updates to know that. The tone of the emails, the timing, the way everything had been structured, it was already heading in one direction. Still, when my phone lit up again with his name, I answered. This time, there was no hesitation. "Naomi." His voice sounded different. Not just less confident, smaller. "Yes," I said. A short pause. "I got another email," he said. "They're asking for documents." "Of course they are," I replied. Another pause. "They want the original contract," he added. "The prize agreement. I don't have that." I didn't say anything, because that was the point. He never had it. He had everything built on top of it. Utility records, updated forms, administrative paperwork, but not the foundation itself. And now that the foundation was the only thing that mattered, everything he did have suddenly meant less. "They contacted you too, right?" he asked. "Yes." "And you sent it?" "Yes." Silence. I could almost hear the moment it clicked for him. Not all at once, but enough to make the situation feel unstable. "What exactly does it say?" he asked. That question carried something new. Not denial, concern. "It says what they told you," I said. "The property isn't transferable like a normal house. The original terms still apply." "And the clause?" he pressed. "It applies if the relationship tied to occupancy breaks," I said, "or if one party removes the original winner under dispute." Another pause. Longer this time. "You're saying, because I told you to leave." I didn't interrupt him. I let him finish the thought himself. "That triggers it?" he said. "Yes." The word settled between us. No emphasis, no emotion, just confirmation. "That doesn't make sense," he said again, but it sounded weaker this time, like he was repeating something he no longer fully believed. "It doesn't have to feel fair," I said. "It just has to match what was written." Silence, then quieter. "I didn't think it worked like that." "I know," I said. That phrase had started to repeat itself, but now it meant something slightly different each time. Not agreement, not comfort. Recognition. "You could have told me," he said again. I looked down at my hand resting on the table. Steady, unshaken. "I didn't need to," I said. Because if he had needed to understand, he would have asked before making a decision that assumed he already knew everything. Instead, he relied on what he could see. Names on documents, control in daily life, position in the house. It was enough until it wasn't. I thought that he stopped. Then tried again. "I thought once my name was on everything, that was it." "That's what it looked like," I said. And that was the problem. It looked complete. It just wasn't. There was a long pause after that. No arguments left. No angles to push. Just the slow realization that what he had built his certainty on wasn't strong enough to hold. "So what happens now?" he asked. The same question as before. But now it sounded different. Less like control. More like waiting. "They review everything," I said, "and then they make a determination." "And there's nothing we can do?" There it was. The shift from control to limitation. "No," I said, "not anymore." He exhaled slowly. I could picture him again, standing somewhere inside the house, maybe in the living room, maybe near the kitchen where he had told me to leave. The same space, but no longer his in the way he had believed. "Naomi's," he said. I waited. "We can still fix this." I closed my eyes briefly, not because I was overwhelmed, because I recognized the pattern. Repair only becomes urgent after consequence appears. "You already made your decision," I said. "I didn't mean it like that," he said quickly. "I know," I replied. Another silence. Then, softer. "I was wrong." That was new, simple, direct, and late. I didn't respond to it, not because I didn't hear it, because it didn't change anything. There are moments when being right matters, and there are moments when it doesn't matter anymore. This was the second kind. "Can I see you?" he asked. "No." "No," I said. No hesitation. No explanation. Just no, because there was nothing left to say face to face that would change what was already moving forward. The call ended not long after that. Quietly, like everything else had. I set my phone down and sat there for a while, staring at nothing in particular, not thinking, just aware, because something important had already happened. Not the final decision, not the legal outcome, the shift. He no longer sounded like someone in control, and once that changes, everything else follows. That evening, I received another update. Brief, formal. Preliminary review indicates that conditions required to trigger reversion may be present. May be present. Careful wording, but clear direction. I read it once, then set my phone aside, because at this point the outcome wasn't a question. It was timing. And somewhere, without either of us in the room, that timing was already closing in.